If you want to know Morocco, you have to know the people of Morocco. Because if you look outside, the people are really, really small and really simple. It's like you have these small doors, and then you enter the house, and it's a huge Alibaba universe. And this is exactly what happened in the mind of the people. I am Israeli, I am Moroccan, I am a designer, I am a spiritual person, I'm many things, and all of those things I take in consideration when I'm working. You know, I came to Morocco 5 years ago, and the first thing I was is the lair of the tourist. So everything was very fascinating, very colorful, a bit Oriental Euro Disney, somehow. So this was the first stage. And then slowly when I start to live here and I start to research and I start to go down, and I'm saying going down because I think when you want to know a place, you actually have to dig in and not to climb up. When you are walking in the house, you also feel the noise of the people, the way they are living. So I wanted people coming to this house to understand this dialogue between how small and how humble we are, but how rich we are inside. And of course, I'm Jewish in a Muslim country. Outside, people think that it's something really scary or really bad, which is not. You know, we are coming from the same place. I don't choose my religion because I'm born into it. So it's not something that I can say that it's defined you. It's something that is in your roots, it's something that you are grow up, and it's something that you be taught to be. But I think culture is the most important thing. So when you have culture, you actually have something that can live on to a next generation, and this is our roots. So I think culture for me is much more important, and I think culture actually is what's defined us and what's make this whole world so much interesting and so much different. And I think from there I get actually most of my inspiration. I don't describe my design because I cannot. It's something that have to do within me and something that come out and become something that I had in my head. It's come from a religion, it's come from culture, but it's also come from memories. And I think if you want to touch people, you have to touch their memories, because it's the only place that garments can become emotional. I received this house from my father. It's a house that belonged to us for the last 250 years, so it's mean it's belonging generation. And when I came to the house and I opened it up, it was closed for many, many years. And one of the things that was laying in the house was the bedroom as it was before they left, with this blanket on it. And the blanket was the most kitsch and romantic thing I ever saw. But it's also somehow touched me, and I said, how I can preserve something of this house or give it the respect that it is. So the first thing I did, I took this blanket and I just create from it a piece just to give it a new life, because I know that if I will not create something, it will be somewhere or it will be forgotten. And I think, okay, we need to use things that we are not using anymore and give them a new translation, like everything that it's old. I'm preserving the culture, preserving the memory. So I think this is part of me giving back something, somehow. So I'm dealing with vintage because I have a lot of respect for the past. Everything is based today on consuming and how we can actually change it faster. So today when you create garments, they don't made for last, they just made for last for the trend they are, which is very short. It's about 3 months, even less. And if you take pieces from the vintage and you see how they're made, actually they're made for last for life. So I'm using this because even the technique that they've been done are not been done anymore. Even the machine doesn't exist anymore. I think it's very interesting, the idea of mask, because I think that all of us have one. When you take everything out of the person, the mimic, the look, everything, and you just put something else, you actually see what you want to see. Today in the modern world, we are actually wearing them because we want to create a new person. I feel that sometimes when we put a mask, it's actually more real than the real one. I'm working with people that are artisan. So what I do, I create a sketch and I give, for example, to make a scarf, I only make the sketch in black lines. And then the woman that make it, I tell her, you should do whatever you see. The one who make my scarf or who make my embroideries, she is creative exactly as me. So I give her the freedom to create her universe in this piece, and she makes something which is magic. So I took now a bogolo. I will show you because we are working on a new collection, and I told you I'm very much into Africa, but in Africa there is not so much colors. You know, if there is something I don't like is when clothes making in a perfect way. I don't respect clothes that look perfect, because I think there is not a human touch inside. Now there is something about African art that is very particular. So I'm trying to change somehow the DNA to a new place, because I think this is the source of culture. The source of culture have somehow also to evolve, because if we keep the culture as it was, it will not survive the time. When we talk about African art, we always go to this wax fabric that everybody is wearing, and we always go to this wooden mask, and we always go to this very tribal and very strong. But if you think about it, it's much more than that. It's much more feminine. It's much more luscious. You know, it's very. There's so much life inside. But how you bring it back in a different way? I'm trying to soften it. You know, I'm trying to bring the African art in a soft way, because this is something you hardly see. I don't go with my mind. I go with my heart, because my heart will give me a better answer and the right one. We build everything from that, and when you put love into things, it gives you back. When you put only your mind, it's very logic, and I don't think there is something logic about art. I think we're born with a choice, but we need to exercise the choice every day. I came from a place there is no more fear than where I came from, and I managed to conquer it by willing to live and wanted to live. We can actually make a difference. It's amazing what people can do, but sometimes it's also amazing what they don't do. This is the idea of a human being. We have something that is amazing. It's imagination. It's powerful than anything else. So if you practice it every day and something came out of it, chapeau. I hope that people will be more free and will let go of their fears and will able to be who they are without being conscious of what people think about it, because the only way that people see your light, or that people see your imagination or your own individuality, is that actually to be strong enough to be yourself. And I think there is a sentence that I read once in a book, and it's touched me very strong. It said, your biggest fear will be to be who you are. I think culture and art have the same thing in common. It's education. And I think culture and art preserve the inside world of all the people. And this is actually what they are leaving behind. For me, the future is to go back. I don't think the future is to go forward. If we want to make a difference, we have to keep our difference.